Hi everyone, happy Friday. Welcome back. Last week I took a break. Nikki was our guest with our friend AJ, and speak of the devil, she just joined. Today's guest is Laquia. She is such an amazing person. We'll get into some more of the details as to who she is, what she does, where she's going. But today's topic is going to be all about the stories that and we're going to stick to the theme of stories because I don't know if she wants me to tell you this, but she is a self-published writer. I was like, let me just make this announcement before you get on, and then
Oh
you
my
just
God, no. Well, the cover of the book is right there.
yay! See, I was like, you'll learn more about her.
Because I'm not gonna
You're not gonna self-promote yourself. I will do that
No.
for you. Anywho, she wrote that book a few years ago, and she's just a really great storyteller and writer. And I keep telling her this, that story writing is a gift. So welcome, Laquia. Are you all comfy now? Oh, there you go.
That's about as much of a self-promotion that I can do.
Yeah,
But
we
yeah,
didn't
I'm
even
coming
get
now.
we didn't even get a little hint of what the title is.
Oh. We'll
We'll
get into
get into
that.
that. We'll get
Okay.
into that a little
Yeah.
bit. But before we start, I wore lipstick for Laquia, and then she decided to wear lipstick for me. So hey, look
What
at
up,
us.
girl?
And
It's
then we
Libra
got the hoops.
season.
We got our gold hoops in.
I know.
It's a day. It's Libra
I
season.
am. I know. The whole month is. I've
It
been
is.
feeling a way about it too. Because every October it's
I
like
know.
I
We're on the
get
same
really
wavelength.
introspective and all contemplative and stuff. It's like strange.
Well, that's good because that's just the type of person we are as Libras.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we get started, can we just cheers to the weekend? Yay.
We can desperately need it.
Also, we need to do our wine and wine day on Wednesday,
Oh, that's not tonight.
right? It,
Oh, that's
it
not
should
what
be
we're
wine
doing
and wine
right
night every
now.
night. Because we got so much shit to whine about, but we're not going to bring everybody into the fold of what we're going to talk about. Anywho,
Yeah, no.
um, all right. So today's topic is going to be about the stories we tell ourselves. So earlier this week, Lakia and I were catching up, and we were discussing, just the transitions that we've been going through in life, and especially during Libra season as October babies. My birthday's coming up October 20th, so go out and vote. Lakia's birthday already passed. She just turned 33. Her mom just gave her this.
Six.
Your mom is so cute, by the way. Can I just give a
She's
shout
the
out to your
cutest
mom?
human, and like she's
Seriously.
literally so cute. Did you see what she did for my birthday? Like
Yes. Can you
she had
explain to the
signs
audience?
made, had wine bottles with my face on there. I was like, you know me so well. I got a beautiful watch. I just felt good. It was a good week.
Oh,
It was a really good week.
that's good. I know that your
Shout out to
your
my
photos
mom.
are so beautiful. Yeah. Shout out to all moms. Seriously, best thing to have ever happened to
Well,
anyone.
not all moms, I mean, let me stop. Where this is recorded.
Two drinks in, we're already off on a rant. All right. Well, the stories we tell ourselves, right?
Yes.
So this theme came about because of the different transitions that we're going through in our life, and really just Libra season, being a little bit more introspective, reflecting on where we are, where we want to be, who we are, how we've changed, and we came back down to just the things that we tell ourselves. It was once for me like the lies I was telling myself to get ahead, to achieve, to succeed. But now it's more so like the stories that I want to create for myself, a legacy I want to leave. And mainly like the continuous stories that we keep telling ourselves in the chapters in our stories that we are developing and continue to develop. So Lakia, with that, what stories are you currently telling yourself right now or going through that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah. So I do want to say, sometimes we tell ourselves stories, and maybe this is just personal, but I don't always think they're like lies. Like I think it's what we truly believe at the time, and then there's like an experience or like some sort of catalyst that like alters, basically flips the script. It changes the story, right? We flip the chapter. And I think for me, specifically over the last 2 years, I have reflected a ton on um like what it means to be successful, what it means to be like productive, like what is productive, and like what, and reassess and like really reevaluated like what I want in life. And I think more so since with like the pandemic, right, and with like COVID and everything, I think I've finally told myself that like resting isn't wasting. Because for a long time, the
Yeah.
story I told myself was like, if I'm going to be successful, I have to be accustomed to being like exhausted and stressed. Like that is normal.
That's so
And
crazy,
that is like
right?
how it is. But that is the reality I lived for a lot of my 20s. Like I was probably the most dehydrated person in America, Angel. Like I was caffeinated by day. I was, like commiserating with people by night over drinks and then going out on the weekends. And I literally was just like, it was kind of like masochistic what I was like doing to myself and my body at the time. But I thought that like, this is what you do when you're like trying to make it, right? You don't team no sleep. Like think about all of the things that have been glamorized that I think now people are like waking up and realizing like that's actually not cute. I fell for that, the whole like be productive, check off these things off of your list and you're
Yes.
going to be successful. What's hard is when the experiences you have reinforce the bad stories you tell yourself. Like when you're in a bad chapter and you're telling yourself a bad story, but like you feel like you're winning. And so you're constantly like reinforcing these negative stories and you really need to change, but there has to be a catalyst. Like something has to provide a broader perspective, at least for me it did, to help me understand different, I don't
Yeah,
know if you can relate to that, but
oh no, I totally understand what you're saying. I mean, you sleep when you're dead, right? That's another saying that it has been glamorized, and in every aspect of life. It's like why not take control of rest? It's so crucial to how we function as people, right? We are so easily influenced by other people's glamorization of whatever success and achievement means to us. Because when I was in corporate, can you hear that?
I can. It's fine.
We live on a busy road. It's very popular here with a
Yeah.
lot of like race cars and
You might hear a train in the
motorcycles.
background. I don't know where I live, but there's like all types of stuff out here. Like
Okay.
it's a lot
Well,
going on.
I was just gonna say, I completely share the same sentiment because I remember literally going to work at like 7, 8 in the morning and going out to go entertain clients until like 3 or 4 in the morning. And literally, I would sleep for 3 or 4 hours a day. I remember going home throwing up and being like, this is not my life. But for some reason, the story I told myself, the narrative was, this is what you need to do to get by. If you can't survive this, like you're never going to make it in the financial world. You're never going to be able to hang with the boys, right? And so that was my routine for like the longest time. And it's sickening to even still remember and like think about those moments because I even knew at that time that this isn't me. But I was like, no, this is a story that I'm going to continuously believe in because that's just, I don't even know. Like that was what I was influenced by.
Yeah.
So
No, I think that's interesting. Like, because I mean, I definitely have those moments. Like, I remember, like, so I wasn't out entertaining people, but like in working retail, it's grueling. And when you talk about those reinforcements of like work harder, sometimes longer days, and like there's positivity, there's like promotions and things of that nature, right? And so I think for me personally, when the story I'm living or the chapter I'm in is incongruous with like how I'm feeling in that moment, like if I wake up one day and I'm like, this is no longer working, that is when I become unhappy. And I say that because like for a long time, that lifestyle I was living, I was truly happy. Like missing holidays with my family, I'm like, it doesn't matter because I love my job. Like and working long hours, like I would have people in my life telling me like, I hate what you do, like I hate what it does to you. But I'm like, but I love this. And then I wake up one day completely exhausted after a week of, similar to you, like waking up and being at the store at 4 a.m. and like leaving not so late, like really late at night. And I was like, what am I doing this for? Like, is this it? Like, is this what I'm doing this for? And I think that's when I had to like go back and remember the story I told myself in undergrad, whereas like I really love the healthcare industry and I really want to be in that industry. And some kind of way, there were these experiences that caused me to make different decisions. And I sort of took a different path, which is fine because I liked the journey. But when that journey, and I think when the story, when it no longer fits, I had to tell myself and give myself permission to change the plan.
So wait,
And
can
I
you actually share with us like that story and like when you shifted that plan? Because I think I know what you're talking, but I might be wrong. Um,
when
do
I
you want?
changed the plan in terms of my
Yeah,
career.
yeah.
So yeah, so I basically was like running a store for a big box retailer, and every day for 5 days I was getting up super early. I had a major visit, and I was getting up early and working probably like 60 to 75 hours like plus that week, that one particular week. And at the end of it, visit went great, and I was like, this is all that there is, right? Like I got a pat on the back, and I was more tired than I probably had ever been in my entire life. And it just didn't feel like the effort that I put in was like, didn't feel worth it anymore. I'm like, what, like, are my goals even aligned with this? Like, I'm just like helping people like sell stuff. Like, is that what I want to be doing? And I think that when what I was doing like no longer was, I had basically had like this like awakening that like I am not living the story anymore that I want to be living, and I need to change that immediately. And once upon a time, I knew what I wanted to be doing, and some kind of way I lost my way, and we need to get back to that. And so I made some like hard decisions, like I have to go back to school, and what is that gonna look like, right? And um, making that choice of not going full time, like going full time to school, but like also working. Whereas a lot of people kind of like make adjustments to their life and just do one of those things full time. It was really difficult to try to do both. And I had to be honest with myself. Like I can no longer live this path. I have to transition. So that also meant like when I did finally get the opportunity to be in healthcare and get the job I wanted, taking a step back, right? But it was believing in the path and the story that I wanted to be, the story that I wanted to tell. And it was realigning myself with what mattered to me personally. And like, I had a lot of people in my life who I really, really respect and love who were like, are you sure? You know, the same people who were just like, I hate your job, or like, but are you sure you want to, you know what I mean? And I think
Yeah,
that just kind of goes back to like, what matters is like what do you want to say at the end, be able to say at the end, you
right.
know? And like
Like
for
your
me,
legacy. What are you trying to leave
yeah.
behind? What are you trying to create for yourself?
And really for me, it's like, what do I want my story to be? Like, if would I read the last chapter? You know what I mean? Like, would I read that chapter? Would I be proud of that chapter if it was a book, right?
Yeah,
And I think if the answer is like no, I would call the protagonist a sellout. Then like something's got to change. Like we cannot do this, right?
yeah.
So I mean, whatever. I made some like ridiculous decisions in my life, but they've always panned out, and I've always been proud of that. And I'm like super happy now, and everything that I thought I was losing, I was able to like recover within a year. And I think it shows like when you're walking your path, like truly walking your path, it comes to you. And I used to think that was like some like yoga type like
Some
weird stuff.
woo-woo stuff that's in the
Yeah, like
air.
not into like Angel, you know me, like straight shooter, like let's cut to the chase. Like we're not gonna be all like I was like not bought into meditation. Now I meditate. It's like who am I? I don't even know.
But you know what's funny is like the things that we reject, we as we get older, we kind of like I guess organically gravitate towards it in a way because it's more so it's good for us and we didn't know that, right? Which is crazy because meditation is good for you, but we didn't know that like 5, 10 years ago for ourselves to be doing that when we were going through the hardships that we were going through or when we were you know, having all of our anxious moments at work and staying up late and waking up early and things like that. Like we weren't centering ourselves. So it isn't as woo woo as it is when we first heard about it, because we were ignorant. We didn't know any better. Right. And now that we are practicing, it's like a new chapter in our life. It's like those new chapters that you continue to just, you can't foresee it. Obviously, when you read a book, you can't foresee the next chapter, but it definitely it's like a new surprising turn in the chapter for you, and it's rewarding. And there's a lot of growth there, and like the character build. Sorry, I'm like so stuck in our stories theme that
I
I
love
just
it though.
can't
No, I'm
get out of it.
down. Yeah, it's good.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of stories, thank you all for joining us. I wanted to share this book that Laquia and I have in our to read pile. Do you have your book?
Our to be read pile.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah. This was not planned, by the way.
It was not. How ironic we have the same book in our to be read pile. I mean, we discovered that we had the same book, but it was.
Oh,
I
and
didn't
our
know you were reading
blue
this.
flowers. Just because we have people on.
I mean, mine are in the back. You can kind of see them, right?
Yeah,
there.
I can see them. But yeah, no, like new chapters in our life. We're learning new things every day. Life is all about progression, right? So I also just want to reiterate for any new people joining us, why we keep talking about stories, is because Laquia is a writer, self-published. She also
I can't even
she
like
is
keep
like
a straight face.
I can't, like, I'm so proud of you. I'm never gonna not stop being proud of you and promoting you, because I myself know that that's such a big gift to have, to be able to tell a good story and like to engage people, because I struggle with it. Like I do not think I'm a good storyteller. So yeah, like we keep coming back to this whole stories theme because Lakia's a writer. She prides herself in writing. She
I
reads
like to
so
write a
much.
lot.
She does.
I value stories. And I mean, like, look, it's how I process, right? Like writing is how I process. I was writing stories ever since I was a little kid, mainly because I got really bored with TV. The household I grew up in, like we could not watch TV before 5 p.m., before 5 o'clock. And I was competing with like two other siblings. And so me being me, I'm like, versus you telling me I can't do something or me not being allowed to do something, I'm just not going to want to do it anymore. And so I started like engaging in writing, and really just like it just became something that I did consistently. And like I like journaled since 8. My brother will tell you that I would always make up stories about things, and I would be like thinking of stories in my head and like getting these weird expressions on my face, like whatever. I don't really know. But I think ultimately what stories do is they help me understand people and help me connect. I think a lot of people feel that way, but like I have literally like not I like didn't date a guy, or I stopped dating a guy because like he could not tell a story. Like he could not. I'm like, oh, tell me about your goals. And I was like waiting to be like captivated and enthralled and all of these things. And like it was like 2 sentences and dry. And like the men in my family are such dynamic storytellers. Like I could not handle it. So for me, like storytelling is like a very big thing, right? Not only as something I love to do, but as something I value and when other people can do it. But also it just helps me connect and understand and build relationships with people. And I think that's why I want to always like know people on a really like on a deeper level. It's because it helps me connect, right? I would say specifically for 75 Degrees, I did self-publish that book. That for me was like a very personal journey of I'm kind of happy where I'm at with my career, right? I had some specific goals I had at that time professionally that I was achieving, but personally, it was like I want to do this for myself. I want to not only complete this book, but I want to not have it like in a Word doc, but like have it a physical copy. And I don't want to wait for someone else to validate the quality. You know what I mean? Like I don't want someone to be like, oh, it's good enough to publish, or it's not good enough to publish. Like I wanted it for myself. It was very personal. And I think that's why as someone who is very, I'm going to say, I'm a bit, I refer to myself as like self-absorbed. I'm very self-confident. Like I have a lot of, I think I'm amazing, right? Like personally, I'm very shy and very uncomfortable with promoting this aspect of my life, of this part of me, because it is so personal and very much like, it's not, it doesn't always feel like it was meant to share. It was more to prove something to myself. And I was like, if people like it, great. If they don't, like, okay. It's
Yeah.
not, I didn't intend for it to be something that people like consumed. It was to prove something to myself, and I proved that, and I felt good about it. And so that's that. And so when you say it and you talk about these things, I'm like, okay. But the newest story I'm telling myself is that I if I commit to this, it can be good enough for mass consumption. And so one of my goals, my personal goals right now, is to work on something that um, I do try to get like published outside of publishing it myself.
Which I know
Do you
you will
sense the
be.
discomfort here, Angel? Like there's like a shift that happened. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I
It was
felt
a
that.
thing. I'm gonna drink like this whole glass now because I
Oh my
survived.
gosh, like you're too funny. I mean, like I said, it's such a gift to be able to storytell and connect with people. Like you said, it's very vulnerable. I think of artists when they're creating art, they tend not to just, put it out to the public what they're creating because it's very personal to them. It is a space where they feel the most vulnerable. I think I read something somewhere where, I mean, with all of the music that's going on, that's when people are at if you're listening to like sappy music and R&B music like I do, that's when they're at their lowest, right? When they're able to conjure up that type of music to connect with other people. Like no one's just sitting around wanting to write sad music. Like you have to be able to feel that energy that artist is giving off. And I think that's like essentially what really great storytellers and writers and authors all do is they are able to tap into another like a seventh sense where they're connecting with people, right? On a deeper level. And speaking of connecting with people, you're reading what book right now that you've been, I don't want to say you've been whatevering to, I'll let you say that. But
Oh, Mariah Carey, The Meaning of Mariah. I'm literally savoring it. I'm a pretty voracious reader. I'm very quick with that when I'm reading things. I am savoring every word. I'm literally taking my time. I am reading like pages so slowly. And it's very like emotional. I mean, besides me being like a super fan, I think that like here's the deal. When you think you know the story of somebody and you think you understand what like somebody's path or journey was, and then they start to divulge it to you and you start to get insight into what made them who they are or whatever, it's always special. Whether it's me talking to you and you divulging something, or whether it's like your favorite artist ever divulging something to you, you get insight into like what made that person them. And so for me, like reading The Meaning of Mariah is like, it's just such a great experience because I'm learning so much more about an artist that I love.
yeah,
But I also like value that experience when I'm like connecting with other people. That's why like when I go to brunch with people, it's like 4.5 hours because like I just want to know and I just want to feel connected and I just want to like I want to get it and I let it and I'm like I've often told people like I don't really want to talk, but I'm totally down to listen, right? Because I feel like when people are telling you like what they're going through, what they're experiencing, they're just telling you their story. And it's much more interesting than like me sharing mine. And I'm much more comfortable, like obviously consuming the story than sharing the story. And so, yeah, like I mean, I'm excited about the book. I'm taking my time reading it. And then after that, I guess we'll do The Color of Law and then we'll have like a book club.
and so and if anyone wants to join our book club, you're more than
Anybody
welcome
want
to
to join?
join.
It's nonfiction.
If you want
I
to
can't tell
change
you
any of the
anything.
laws that's going on right now, you could.
No,
We will
no, it's going
start
to
that
help
out.
provide insight into like how we got here is what it's going to do
Exactly.
for those that don't know.
Yes. Ugh. But anywho, okay. Um, I wanted to make Callie. You can join, girl. You better get your book on Amazon right now. Actually, don't get it on Amazon. Get it at one of your
No,
local
an indie bookstore, a black-owned bookstore, preferred.
Yes.
Black Lives Matter.
Please, yes.
My glass is almost empty, Angel. That means my glass is almost empty. Hold on.
We're almost done. We got okay. Now you need another glass. Laquia.
What's
Okay,
up? I'm
I
here.
just wanted to let everyone on the call know that if you have any questions, please feel free to let us know. There's some new faces on here. This
Are
is
there?
definitely an engaging
Do we
and
know these
interactive.
people? What are
We
your
know some of
favorite
them.
books to read? What's the book title Laquia wrote? Okay. Can you guys see this? 75 Degrees. Unfortunately, it's only the physical copy is available on Amazon, but it's available wherever ebooks are sold, Barnes and Noble, iBooks, Smashwords, but physical copies are available on Amazon. It is not my full name. I have a pen name, L.N. Burt. You guys, I don't know. Like, I love this story personally. It's not perfect. Keep in mind, I wrote it 7 years ago, but you will be entertained. I can promise you that. You will be entertained. What else is there?
Can't wait.
What else? There's some other questions. Haven't changed a bit. Oh my God, I love him. But this is recorded, right? I should stop with my
This
ad
is
lib.
recording. Yeah. Callie wants to know, what is inspiring you during this writing, Laquia?
Callie.
That's a brain teaser, Callie.
You know what I write? Like, I am a big believer that you like I personally I view like reading books as like an escapism. So I always write the books that I would want to read. And I think specifically for me, I try to tell stories with Black characters that have don't have as much to do with like slavery or race, because I think there's so many more, like, we're not monolithic as Black people, and I think there's so many more stories that we have to tell. Like, we lead like these lives that are like complex in a variety of ways, and like, yes, race and these things play a part in it, but I think for me it's really important to talk about just like love, or like the loss, but the loss not being related to like a specific like being murdered, right, by like the police, but just like loss in general, things that anybody of any race could relate to, but it's with Black protagonists. And I think that's really important to me. But I think I'm also have this obsession, and maybe it also has in part to do with my own story that I'm constantly uncovering within myself, with like understanding how our relationships that we had in the beginning of our lives, right? Those very first bonds that we formulated with our family and our very first caregivers, those attachments, how they have influenced how we love and how we connect as adults. And that's really a lot of, like, at the core, that is what the first book is about, with 75 Degrees is about. It is about how familial structures have impacted how people, or these people, have like loved in their adult lives. And I'm not an expert on it. I think it's something I'm constantly examining in myself, right? Is like, how have my experiences shaped how I connect, how I build connections, how I love, right? And I think it's important that we all understand, like, we all understand that part, because ultimately, like, a friend of mine said it best, and the friend of mine may be in this, watching this live right now, but she said, at the end of the day, you're not going to be like, when you die, like, oh, healthcare, oh, hospitals. You're going to think about like the people that impacted, and the people, like your community, right? And I think at the time I had a smart ass comment that I said to her, because it wouldn't be me if I was being like agreeable, right? But it's true. And it wasn't until I think I lost one of my very first caregivers, my grandmother, that I really like understood like that's fact, right? And I have, the story I'm telling myself is that I have a responsibility to nurture the community that nurtures me. And not only that, I want to, and I want to do that better than I've done in the past, when I have been more focused on like checking off like these tasks that like will get done one way or another, right? And I think that's kind of the experiences of the catalyst that have like changed the story I told myself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I said a lot of things right now. I don't even know what your original question was, but I feel like
There
I had
was
a
no
moment of
formal
honesty there.
question. I you just went straight into the background of your book, why you wrote it, and what the premises of the book is about, and how you rounded yourself to realizing the foundation of like kind of who you are, which is reflected in your bio a little bit. We talked
It
about
is.
this. Your family is such a big part of you. I share that sentiment like wholeheartedly because I'm extremely family oriented. I'm extremely influenced, inspired, motivated by my family. They are my biggest supporters and my biggest like devil's advocate because they're the only ones who can get under my skin, but I still love them unconditionally, right? And I think that says a lot, especially in this day and age. I think we had already been talking about this, how you are impacted within the first 8 years of your life, right? And as we get older, we're starting to realize that. I mean, can you imagine us having kids like 10 years ago in our 20s and not even
Not
knowing
equipped.
that?
Not
And
equipped. I just told you, Angel, I was dehydrated in my 20s. Like, there's no
yeah,
way I would have been
you're like a
prepared.
living cactus. Like you're a cactus. You don't need to water me. Just give me wine.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I mean, I think a family for me, like, I remember, so I'll share this story. And I know we're at time, but like, I remember I was going away to live in Eastern Europe after graduating, right? And I had like joined the Peace Corps, and I remember like having this conversation with my dad about I'm nervous, but I'm gonna go do this thing and all these things, and like, and he always said to me, even when I left for college, and now going even further away, he was just like, home, like your home, your background, your family, like we are the cloak that you wrap yourself in when you go out in this world. And I have never forgotten that. And I wear that and I remember that. Like, not to get all sentimental. I mean, my dad's freaking fantastic. And so, like,
By
yes,
the
we
way,
would
I
shout
love
out to
your
the
dad
moms
already. I
but
follow him
like,
on Instagram.
Tequila Junkie, follow him. He's amazing.
He's so
Even
cute.
though he barely knows how to work Instagram, he's like trying to figure out hashtags. Somebody help him. I can't. But no, I think that I think for me that is very rooted in like why I embrace change, why I'm not afraid of what's to come. I'm not risk averse, I would say. But I think it's because like I have very strong roots and I know the people I've come from. I understand the DNA that's running through my veins. Like, there's a segment of my family that is historically like poor and poorly educated, and that narrative has changed the generations through through a lot of I mean, the narrative has changed the generations, right? Like my grandfather was the only one out of his siblings to graduate from high school. My dad, the first ever, like, in our family to graduate from college, right? And when you think about that and the struggles that have been overcome, like I have like what yes, whenever I'm successful or whenever I've just been great, like that's wonderful for me and I'm proud of that and I'm happy about that. But also like Angel, at the root of it, like it's not my own. It's the narrative, it's the broader story of like the Burt crew and like who we are and the progress of us and like us making it and winning, right? Like all of us play a part. We're all like these like other stories in the overall series.
Yes.
And it's important, and I am rooted in that deeply, and it is a strong part of my identity and what drives me. And I think that I'm proud of it, and I am motivated by it and inspired by it every single day. And I think that everybody should like take a look at whether it's like, I mean, definitely do. Like, please don't Google us. Like, not like, you know what I mean?
Burt
Like, don't
family.
Google these people. Like,
But you know what? That is so beautiful because you have so much pride in your family, right? When you have, and not a lot of people can say that, like, they have such a rooted family that they can go back generations and really reflect on it. That is a privilege within itself to be able to have people to cloak you. I love that saying that your dad, told you, because now I'm like, yeah, my family cloaks me all the time. Like, anytime I'm in whatever dark hole I'm in, I'm reminded. I have like those voices in the back of my head that's actually my family's voices protecting me from whatever harm that may come my way that I'm, creating for myself, which is usually majority of the case because I'm my worst enemy. And that cloak is a protection cloak. It's like that security net. It's that safety net, right? And I love that. I don't care if we're at time because we have a lot of people joining, and we're talking about so many great things, because storytelling is so powerful. But not even that. It's like now we're getting deep into like why family is important, where your foundation comes from, your identity, and like what makes you who you are. These are all different chapters in our life that we're now just kind of coming to fruition with. Like I spent the first 6 months in Minnesota, which I haven't done in like forever, since I moved away as a pre-adult, I guess. But it was beautiful because I was able to sit with my parents and hear their stories and truly get a better understanding of who they are as an adult and not just as a child.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I'm so glad you said that. I interrupted you. Continue.
No, yes. Go ahead. Please interrupt.
No, I just feel like as an adult, and I feel like I'm sure a lot of people feel this way. Sorry, I had to refill my glass because
girl, gosh, I know. I'm like I'm not done yet. I gotta get my glass.
No, but like I'm glad you said that, Angel, because I'm sad to say it took me maybe 2 years ago, the passing of my grandmother, when I basically like had this realization that our parents are someone's child. Like we know that. Yeah. Obviously they're someone's kid. Like it's not rocket science, right? But when you really like, have you ever like looked at your parents and thought of them as someone's child? I personally, and maybe this is because I live in my own bubble, it took the passing of my grandmother for me to be like, my dad is like someone's, he's also, I mean, like, where do we live? Do you hear that? Do you hear like the ambulance in the background?
You don't have another fire happening in your apartment, right? It's not like 5 a.m.
No, that was really bad. And that happened that day. But no, like, I think that like the realization that our parents are someone's kid, like even when I think about, even my mother's, right? Like you think about their own upbringing, and if the goal is for like every generation to do better than the one previous, right? Do you critique it differently then? When you go through that lens of every generation's goal is to be better than the generation before, what then and sometimes it doesn't mean that it's sufficient, but sometimes like you realize like our parents are product of an environment too. Our parents are a product of circumstances as well. Yeah. And I think that it took a lot to happen for me to kind of shift that lens and to grow a deeper appreciation for all that's been done for me and all of my privilege, and what's been given to me, because I realized the circumstances they had to overcome to try to be better parents or to try to, I'm rambling now, but like that particular idea, I had to sit with that for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just sit with that.
You are planting new seeds in me. It's crazy. Like
not articulate. I apologize, but
no, but yes, we know that our parents are someone's child, but and we know that like our parents will eventually become like a child as they get older, right? And we have to be the caretakers, which is, but it's a complete reversal of roles, right? And it depends on your parents. If they want to be taken care of or they want to not be taken care of, and they would just do.
Or hopefully they're independent until the end.
Well, I think everyone wants to be independent until the end, right? But sometimes circumstances change. Like, we reflected on that earlier. Like, you just can't control what's going to come your way. And in that, when that time comes and when it happens, how do you go about outlining, I'm so cliche, outlining a new story for your chapter, right? Like changing your roles. Like now you are no longer the character of the child, you're the caretaker. Now your parent is no longer just a parent, it's the child of, your grandparents. And so like shifting that narrative and putting that different lens, like what you said, it there's so much power in that because it does make you see things differently. It does make you kind of reflect on it a lot deeper than maybe you didn't reflect on before. But anywho, I'm just agreeing to everything that you're saying because now you've planted a lot of different little seeds and they're like being watered and the sun.
I mean, because we're hard on our
it.
parents. Like in general, people are really hard on their parents, I think. And
Oh
I
yeah,
think
girl, yes.
if we see our parents through the lens of like they're also someone's child who also made decisions the best that they could, and like, and it doesn't absolve them of responsibility of things, but I think it's easier to show to feel maybe compassion that's harder to lend if you are strictly thinking of them as an authority figure and less of like somebody who also was reared and who also had to overcome and who also maybe had a set of circumstances that weren't like perfect. I think that it helps provide perspective. And I think that's what we want. Like that's what experiences do, right? They provide perspective and we collect them. And it's what our lives are made up of. And if you are smart, and I feel like this, if you're smart, like you learn from them and you hopefully get a better understanding of like what's happening around you. And I don't know, that to me was like an epiphany. Like I mean it sounds so elementary, but I literally did not really think about it till 2 years ago, if I'm being honest.
Some of the most obvious things always slip us or we just ignore them, right? And I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason, and maybe there was a reason for you to slip into that epiphany 2 years ago when your grandma passed, right? For you to realize that and to like,
I mean, there were 1,000,005 epiphanies that happened then. I mean, I'm somebody who doesn't believe in therapy. Like seriously, like I am anti-therapy, right? I've been somebody who went to therapy and then it was like, oh, I quit after 3 sessions or I quit after 2 sessions. Stupid, right? But like for me, like I had never experienced like despondency, like destitution, like devastation like that ever in my life, right? And it took a lot. Like the story I've always told myself is, Laquia, you're always okay. You're always okay. You know what I mean? And I honestly, Angel, I think it was the one point in my life where I was like, I'm not. And I actually need help because I'm not masochistic in a sense where if there's a problem, I'm going to let it be a problem like for an extended period of time. I'm a big believer like if you have a problem, like you need to fix it. Right. And so that's what I did. And I fixed it and I went to grief counseling. Anyway, that's like way too TMI. I'm getting way too deep. Does anybody have any questions? If not, then there's a wine club. That's cute.
I just asked if anyone had any questions, but doesn't look like we have any questions. I will let this session come to an end because I was just getting too deep into this. I feel like 30 minutes is so short, and I just wanted to.
It's fine. I just talk a lot and I interrupt you, and then I poured another glass of wine, and then
girls,
and then I started talking about like sad stuff, and it just like killed the vibe. My bad, Angel. I'll do better. Whatever. We'll do better. We'll figure it out, okay?
All right.
Can you edit this, by the way? I feel like you need you to edit something.
For everyone who is still on, and anyone who's going to watch the recording, because this will be posted, do you have any last words for everyone who is watching us right now and who will eventually watch us afterwards? Yes. Any words of wisdom, anything that you hold on to that you'd like to share with our guests? Yeah. Any last words? Wisdom. Last word. You can leave us with a joke if you wanted to that you enjoy, or a book recommendation that has given you life. Whatever.
Read The Attachment Effect. The Attachment Effect is a really amazing book. I'm glad you said book. Like 2 seconds. Hold this thought. Hold on. Let me find it. If you want to know how your attachments impacted you, read this book. Your Earliest Bonds. Attachment Effect, really good book. You can't find it on Amazon. I don't think you have to buy it from an indie bookstore. So for those of you who don't know an indie bookstore in your area, you need to go find one. But I think it's really important to understand how our early bonds impact the way we love in our relationships. Give yourself space to change the story. It's helped me. Maybe it'll help you. No expert, but like whatever, do what you want, I guess. But give yourself space to change your story. What else? Do I have a wisdom? I don't really know. I mean, I think I'm wise. I think the messaging is all over the place, but we'll work on that.
That book will
Much
come
better
out
writer
soon.
than I am a speaker, Angel. I'm much better writer than I am a speaker. Can't keep it coherent, okay?
All right. Well, last thing is there a space where people can keep up with your writing? Or have you created a space for yourself? If not, that's totally fine. When you do, please let me know so I can share with everyone.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm like really shy about that. There's not a space yet.
Okay. So when she does,
I mean, I have a secret Instagram. If you can find me, whatever, it's fine. If not, like, don't worry about it.
It's secret, and a lot of the hints were already and answers were already given earlier in this whole talk show. So it's a simple search.
Is it really? Oh God. Sad.
I think it's a simple search.
Okay.
But anywho, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me on this Friday for our Golden Hour series. If this is anyone's first time, the Golden Hour series is a conversation that we have with people who inspire us. Clearly, this woman down here continually always inspires me.
Good for a laugh,
I hope that you all can build a community that can inspire you. And if you know anyone, let me know because we'd love to feature them. Thank you so much, Laquia. Cheers.
Thank you.
I
Cheers.
feel in my cup.
Happy early birthday.
Oh, thank you.
So you
Happy belated birthday, even though I already said it to you. It's our birthday all month, girl.
I know, right? All right. Thank you for having me. I'm really appreciative. And this was fun. Yeah, it was a good time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, y'all. How do you get out?